Welcome back to Lume Web3 webinar series. Buckle up, this is the final episode. We've been talking about business models, sustainability, community, all of that, and what is left, culture. And how to preserve culture, and is Web3 actually a tool to do that better? And as promised, some meme talk and toilet talk. It's getting weird. Still having my awesome guest here. Welcome again, Hanna, exceeding founder and CEO at Starstuff, also an artist. So you really feel the audience here. Same Iara, welcome again. Metaverse trailblazer, founder of Ikkio. Been there, done that. Also an artist. Oh my God. Let's remind me not to do karaoke with you guys ever.
I mean, if you have a couple of beers, it will be really fun.
I need more than couple for that. Let's see next time. So yeah, let's get into the culture subject. What's the latest cultural experience that you guys had? And then what if you pull in a Web3 element into that? Would it enhance the experience or diminish the experience?
Well, I can give it a go, perhaps. So I love going to museums, and I have like museum card and so on. So I'm always kind of going around. So I went to this exhibition at Kiasma. It's like about houses in Finland. So it's they have several artists, and they're showing like how it's to live in Finland in different times. So they try to kind of portray that sort of thing. So for me, it was pretty rich also because I wasn't born in Finland. I live here for 11 years. So kind of to understand a bit the culture also. For me, it's pretty amazing. And I was obviously, whenever I am in a museum, I wonder, that's like automatic for me. It's like, how would this be if it was immersive? If it was like VR or WebGL or whatever, like, you know, it's like that you could see yourself entering there, interacting with things. Because one thing that I understand why, you cannot touch things at museum. You know, I understand and I abide, but I feel like it's really nice when you're actually are able to touch and interact with objects and so on. And I love the physical ones that you can actually interact. But then on virtual world, there is no, you know, problem, you know, that there's no worry that something's going to break, right? So then you can actually, then the storytelling is way better because you have such great limitations in the museum environment. So you have budget, you have location, you have the theme, and I'm sure they had way more submissions of art than they can actually possibly exhibit there in that physical location. So you could potentially then have like a way bigger exhibition, give more voices to different people, and maybe like really kind of dive in and have like an open call with the community that they can send their pictures of like how it was housing back in the day and so on, have testimonials from people. So I was kind of like, I was there almost creating my own exhibition that will be like virtual, and that I would do something like that. That would be like, oh, that, then I would learn a bit more, you know, if I could actually touch and enter those spaces and so on. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now we on the previous or first and second episode, we have Johanna Eiramo from the Finnish National Gallery, and they've really done that. It would be amazing to actually access all the art pieces that they have 24/7. I don't know if they're thinking about it, but it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. And cool. She actually, like, they did the Finnish gallery in the central, and when I was there, like by Maria Kontinen, she was like leading that project. But yeah, I remember, and that's like, it's endless possibilities, especially. And one problem they mentioned, maybe Johanna mentioned this, but like is that a lot of the art they have at museum is actually in a storage somewhere because they don't have a physical space to show. So if you have a physical, a digital space, then you can have like all of that. You don't have like limitation anymore. So then you don't need to worry about rotating art like they do in physical museums. So.
And it's also tied to a physical location in terms of like it's in Finland.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
So then I mean definitely I can see that kind of digital layer being part of also kind of expanding where that art can go. So yeah. I actually have one like it's not like a well, of course, I've been to concerts and like all these, but what kind of I was thinking, because I have a kid who's 6, and we go to the playground, obviously, like a lot, almost every day, and I want my kid to go to the playground. We go out because it's good for the kids, and there's this one park that we go to most days because my kid's kindergarten is very nearby. It's this park that has actually like these computer parts in it, so it kind of teaches kids technology and coding while they play in a very physical format, which I love. It's super great, and the kids love it. It's really nice, and I find it very like I find all of these experiences where they kind of portal the digital and the physical worlds in some way. I do see like the kind of problem where you see kids kind of like hunched down like this on their like on their devices. Like I don't want my kid to like grow up and walk like this or like not be physical because physical activity is so good for you. So what I would love to see is having these some kind of like digital portals also physically in the playgrounds, and having like the digital playgrounds kind of like a digital twin that you can go like when you're at home. Like you don't have to be like when you're sick, like you probably can't go to the playground, but your kids can be there or your friends can be there. So that's kind of where I do see that there could be a lot of really nice possibilities. And also obviously like with the digital world, there are not similar like limitations to like you can have crazy trampolines and you can, you can have all sorts of like enhancements that the physical world just doesn't kind of provide. And one thing that I've noticed with my 6-year-old is that what I actually like when she watches these YouTube videos on like a TV screen that have these dances on them, they're almost like games, and she has to like duck and she has to like collect something or something like that, and they're almost like a game, or run away from an octopus or something like this. And I love stuff like that because it gives the kind of challenge of a game or something like that, and also there is like this musical element to it, and then there's physical activity. So I think that in terms of the like digital platforms, they have to also be able to provide the physical activity. That's what I would love to see. Like VR does that to some format, but it's not for everyone. I would love to see something that kind of bridges the gap so that we don't have to constantly worry that our kids are glued to their device.
I love that idea. I have a 5-year-old, so whenever somebody creates that digital playground that connects to the real world, I'm in.
I'm thinking you might be able to bridge that with augmented reality and smart glasses. My avenue.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You want to explain a little bit what do you do with Ikkio? What's the company about?
Yeah, so Ikkio, we are doing app for smart glasses, initially for the visually impaired and blind. So we are using AI and computer vision to help them on the day-to-day, like AI assistant. But the idea is actually like cater for other, whoever uses smart glasses, so they can have. And initially the idea was actually creating the gamified experiences for indoor navigation and so on. And then I kind of like steered away from that for now and trying to solve a real problem at first. But I see myself definitely getting involved into that like AR kind of bridging physical and making like things more interesting and gamified. And, whether it's like you buying groceries or exercising, and then you feel like a bit more motivated because for me, a lot of chores that I do, it would be nicer if I had some sort of gamified thing. You know, it's like I've seen some sort of demos that a person is using. I think it was VR glasses, actually, the Meta Quest, because it's see-through. So you could vacuum clean, and then you had to kind of collect coins while you vacuum cleaning the places.
I love that.
Like, exactly.
Oh my gosh, I need that.
I'm
right
like,
now.
I need this sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And now I will collect so many coins. I will offer to do that for my neighbors, for like my friends.
Feel free to come and clean my house any day.
Oh my gosh. And that worked also, like with Niantic did the Pokemon Go.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, stuff like this, like
it made people walk and exercise and socialize as well, you know. And the funny thing is that they have the gyms, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like definitely, you know, good thing.
Yeah, I love that. So playground, cleaning, all good. I'm a customer. How about back to the culture side of things? What is actually culture nowadays? Because digital is bringing new avenues of culture and the memes. How is memes, like, how are they culture and what do they bring to the table and to the creators?
Well, I think memes are a very important part of our culture now. They have been for quite some time already, but now I feel like it's, and I think there are also been a lot of studies on this. They have become kind of integrated as a new, like when we look back like 100 years from now, what do we see in the museum of the internet will be the skibidi toilets and the meme lores that actually
mentioned.
Yes, that have this like the culture commentary of our time. And the format is just a little bit different than with paintings or music or like another basically media format. Memes are a format of their own. They usually have an element of humor to them. And I think it also gives them this kind of, you know, people can talk about very difficult things with a little bit of humor attached to them. And I think that this is something that the younger generation is doing very wisely. Like, I have been quite astonished and awed about the depth of, you know, discussion and exchange and kind of cultural, even anarchy when it comes to these certain types of meme kind of threads and lore and how deep it can go and how these kind of characters evolve and what goes into the depth of the character. Like, there is just so much depth to it that I think that in terms of storytelling, we're witnessing something completely different. It's also very interactive. Like, someone has an idea about a frog and then someone else takes it and makes it something else. And this kind of back and forth and remixing and modding basically is what has been kind of happening somewhat in games, but now it's also happening in the internet culture. And I think that it's kind of evolving more and more into this like way of storytelling where everyone is more of a participant than a passive consumer. And I love that. I love seeing that because it gives agency. It really kind of that form of storytelling. It's not, you don't have to put on the VR glasses. You can be part of the story by commenting it, by giving it your own perspective. Giving the discussion something, you know, that you think would be worthwhile in the lore, and everyone can participate. And this form of kind of funny, you know, jokester anarchy, I find it like really like genius. It's like, you know, we've had like comedians and clowns, obviously, like in terms of history, like for a long time. But I think this is a new format for really, really kind of addressing some of the hardest challenges we face. Like, this is a generation that is left with the, you know, icebergs that we will leave them. And the way they kind of deal with that and reflect on that is very mature even, I would say. Like, even like you can look at Skibidi Toilet and be like,
okay,
it's stupid.
Can you explain the toilet, please?
Well, it's, I mean, it's probably if not, the most watched YouTube series ever. At least one of them. But basically, like it's a story about these, people, toilet people, and sentient security cameras that are having a war. The whole like storytelling is from a perspective. It's like an FPS, like first-person shooter game. So it also kind of comments on like how we're on our devices and how we kind of like there's this also like Big Brother watching. Like there are so many layers to like how it kind of subtly takes a stance in how we see ourselves within our culture and communities, and what kind of agency we have as people, and how we fight, the evil forces, or because there's always like this, good and evil, and almost like an Orwellian depth to like how it all kind of sums up together in this weird, absurd battle against, and then they like compete with who has, these toilet heads always like up their tech. And then the, sentient security cameras also up there, like they fight with their tech. That's
crazy. Crazy for me to think that that's an actual thing, but it is, and it is here.
It's a massive phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's a huge, massive internet phenomenon. Obviously, it's already starting to get a little bit old.
It is. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I've learned that from my nephew as well, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
So then if it's getting old, that brings me to the idea of then in the future, will there be meme museums?
For sure.
100%.
100%, 150, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how should like the current traditional artists think about this? I mean, it's...
Yeah, that's true. Then you can explain the origin. And if we're talking about, it's like the Web3 element, you can actually have through NFTs kind of like how a meme started. Because like Skibidi is also like some other meme, right? Like this person singing and like paying for everything or something like this. And then they mixed with the toilet and so on. So you have this kind of like origin stories of a meme that you could actually like always
trace back.
Yeah, trace back with like smart contracts and NFTs. You can use all of that and know like, but the original meme was this, and it was created in 2000 something, and now we came all the way to this meme now, and this meme's trace back 30 years. Imagine like how crazy that would be. Yeah. And then you can walk through that meme and interact with it. And if you're curious about, like, maybe you see an image of someone, and then this person now is like way older, and then you can get a chat with their like digital twin or something to understand their perspective on that. Like it's endless possibilities, I think.
Yeah.
Proof of history. Maybe.
Yeah. There are even these like people who have become memes, like the boyfriend who looks at the and then there's the forever the painful old dude with the coffee cup and and I mean all of these people have become celebrities. They have become memes, but they have become celebrities also via memes. And I feel like what memes kind of translate is something very profound in like a human psychological experience. It's always something that it's like a vibe or a feeling that it tries to kind of translate into something that is relatable. Mm-hmm. And I feel like memes do it so well. It's so easy and low threshold to like comment on something with a meme because it's instantly understandable when there's like a reference. Like, this is how I feel about Mondays. You know, like very basic stuff, but then it goes really deep. Kind of when you go like deeper into it, there's just this whole layers of like, wow, like human psychological evolution happening within this like meme commentary that also then translates to interactive like collaborative creativity and games and how we as humans will evolve out of also our like structures that we've created and like how the world operates right now versus what kind of steps we can take towards a more ideal scenario. I believe that memes are the way there.
Okay, we need a meme episode. Totally memes only. This is fascinating to me. Yeah. So then because if I would become a meme, widely available in the internet, everybody could use my face to modify, do whatever. That brings me to copyright. I mean, I own my own face? How does copyright then comes into to this topic? Because it's quite important for the preservation and culture.
Yeah,
to have that.
Yeah, that's a tricky. Like, well, obviously, we cannot give any legal advice. So,
so disclaimer,
disclaimer there. So this is like a open discussion. But I definitely think, blockchain and like smart contracts and NFTs, like they can help this sort of like tracking what's original content. And that also goes for like AI content generation, because, there are, well, the models, the large language models are scraping a lot of content, and if you want to pay the creators for the imagery that they created that was inspiring all this image generations and so on, you should probably have in place some sort of smart contracts that when those things are used, then you can immediately assign royalties and pay those things. And actually, like I was part of a project paying songwriters in a matter of 24 hours. And just for you to have an idea, it takes about 6 months for a songwriter to get paid, from 6 months to 2 years. That's not good for the songwriters. When it comes to like mechanical rights, which is like the rights of people that are like singing the song, like the part of audio, that is faster. That goes like, let's say, Spotify, Napster, or whatever, like they send directly to the record label. So that part is easier. But when it comes to the songwriting rights, it's a bit more complicated. So you can use blockchain for those things. And the way I see it is you can also use blockchain and smart contracts for royalty distribution immediately. And then you have also like when someone remixed something, they should also get a little bit of the royalty, but the original creators should also get a part of the royalty split from that. And obviously it dilutes, right? It's like the more you split, but technology can help so much this, and then you spread wealth around the creativity as well, and you encourage people to create amazing art and so on. And also the people that originally created something, they don't feel they're being someone is taking something from them. So definitely I see great advantage in leveraging this technology for this sort of things.
So would then artists be careful? Let's say I'm a painter and I have a really like valuable painting here, but then I want to put that on to Starstuff and everybody can modify and do whatever they want. Like, how should I think about that? There's like a new opportunity to go viral with my art, but then it's up for anyone's scraps.
Well, I mean, I think this discussion is also something that has been around for quite some time. Like, this has happened before. And this is a little bit of a double-edged sword. And I feel like we can't look to old structures too much when we're creating new ones. Like, we can look at like what has worked and see what we can take from there. But we do have to find new ways of monetizing and new ways of what is a copyright? What do we own in the digital realm? What happens when we die? Who owns what? And because it is forever. Like what is done in the internet is also, it's there. And then there's also an AI for that.com. There's actually a website. There's an AI for that.com, I think. So I think there's also multiple different startups are already tackling this sort of image white labeling and even pixel trademark stuff and something like that, so that you're able to put your mark in your piece of art. However, I think that, and I support all that. I'm an artist. I want everyone to make a lot of money with their art. And at the same time, I want these tools to be free for everyone. Because I feel like the internet has really thrived on being free and being expressive and being chaotic in its that's also part of the genius of humans that seriously, if we look at the world, nothing is original anymore. It's all we copy each other all the time. We copy ideas. Are there any song? Can you make an original song? Maybe you can, but it will sound weird. But the point is, the value you can bring to other people, that is what is monetizable. That is something that if you bring value with whatever you put in front of another person, then you can make money with it. And I think we should kind of try and think outside of what we've known until now and start thinking, okay, this is the framework that we live in now. It probably means that this kind of expanding AI creation is going to get even wilder. That's, they have big machines. They already have the data. And the thing with data is it only goes back. And now it is our time to look forward and think, how can we make sure that, these platforms have the way for people to monetize. And if you have your face in it, you can go oh shit, this is my face. I don't want people to use it. You're able to do that. And monetize and remix and have royalties, but also for the sake of democracy, all of it needs to be free and it needs as open source as possible. That is the core.
Do we need, for example, because you are singers both, do we need record labels anymore in the future?
Well, that is a great question. I don't think so.
I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Labels, you are gone.
No, I'm so sorry. I love you.
Yeah, exactly. I think more than ever, record labels, for instance, they need to show their value for the artists. And
for the people.
Yeah, and for the people as well. So it is a tough job right now for record labels, actually, to show why should I sign with you if I can make my own audience? I have this big audience on TikTok. So they need to provide way more value than before, and perhaps, and that gives actually a better negotiation things for the artists, for not too long ago, already in the digital era of music, you had contracts that would have a clause about breakage. And that means that it was when the CDs and vinyls were, being shipped everywhere. So they were physically breaking. And they still had those for artists that were completely digital, just releasing songs on, Apple Music, Spotify, and so on. They still have this clause for many, many years. And artists would then pay them back this fee of breakage. It's breaking what? It's all digital. There is no transporting of CDs or anything anywhere. So this sort of example, they had so much power, but nowadays they don't have that much. So the artists actually, they start their career usually because they can record by themselves and self-release and so on and build the community around the fandom around their music. without needing the record label. So the record label now needs to pitch them, look, we're going to give you world tour. We're going to give you this. You're going to be in the Grammys. You can work with this producer that produced this one. So they need to offer so much more value than before, but also they're more selective now also too. Like they are not developing artists anymore. They're selecting artists that have already proved themselves. So there is also, when you have such a low barrier of entry, at the same time, you also have some thresholds that are a bit harder and harder to get into, you know, because everybody is now launching a music. Like I was, this is a known thing in the music industry, like 100,000 songs are released per day on Spotify. So how can you stand out on that? So that's what record labels could help potentially. But also if you're like good with, there's probably an AI for that, right?
Yeah.
So if you're good with that, you can figure it out as well and make your music stand out.
Yeah. And one thing that there was this discussion, I was just at GDC, Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, super interesting discussion about the role of AI-generated art and these like big corporations kind of, you know, laying off people and replacing them with AI, and also like record labels saying like, oh, well, we don't need, you know, human artists anymore. We'll just have AIs. And then there was this very extreme thought that was kind of circled in this discussion that I was part of, that was really radical to me, to be honest, that said basically that, you know, humans will no longer need anything human produced. Like people will be just passive and there will be just one thing that you will kind of log into, and then the AI will predict everything and know everything about you and curate everything to your taste, and like you will never ever need anything human made. And to me, I mean, I feel like that is such a cold way of looking at the world. Like,
I don't want that future.
Me neither. That sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a Black Mirror episode. Because I feel like
Clockwork Orange, they will have like those things like, oh, you need to be watching.
Like, but because the greatest thing about humans is that relatable, you know, little rough around the edges, like imperfection. Like there are actually AIs for that.
Yeah.
For making things more human, aka more crappy.
Yeah.
So
finally my art is gonna be taken because I like painting, but I know I'm so bad at it. So maybe now with the AI, people will want something bad looking. I'm like, I got you. I have
there's the human touch.
Yeah.
So then do you think AI generated on art and culture, is that actually like art and culture? Because it's not made by human, basically.
Yes, it's art. It is a form of art. Of course it is. It's just its own form of art. And I think we should treat that as such. Like, it is AI art. However, that doesn't mean that everyone will just want AI art now. It's because I feel like it's the same, like, okay, like you would say that everyone will drink tea from now on. Like no one will ever drink coffee again because tea is so much better. Okay, fine. But there are still people who prefer coffee. And I feel like it's so much about the fact that we all have a very different perspective to life. And as humans, we have the need to relate. We have the need to go through our experiences also through other people and their art and their experiences and their relatable content and memes. I love memes.
I will also add that we need to express ourselves.
Yes.
Also. So I don't think, that will ever be a point that won't be artistic expression, even if AI would try to take over that. Like humans would then, like if we were in the dystopian world that like, oh, it's forbidden for people to create their own art and just AI can do it. People will be like in basements painting and making like illegal music or something. It will be like, definitely like humans will find a way to create something. But obviously this is not going to happen.
Yeah, humans have a need. We have a need to express ourselves.
Yeah.
through creativity and different formats of it. And that will not disappear, for sure. Like the ways in which we do that might change, and the tools might change, and the tech can evolve and all of that. But I think we also kind of come to the like paradox of perfection when it comes to AI. Like it can create perfect things, but do we want perfect things?
And do we want to preserve everything? Because I think that all the digital assets and these emerging ways of just expressing yourself are quite fluid.
Yeah.
They can move from platform to platform, different shapes. Are those worth preserving?
That's true. That's a good question. Perhaps not as much, right? If you didn't put like hours of work into this, like when you see like a piece of art, someone like took months or something to create, and then you have some art that, you know, let's not discuss where it came from, but like it was like, I don't know, 5 seconds prompt that took you. So you like it for a few seconds, but there's no pleasure. It's like, oh, I've done this. You know, I think people will get back to things like, oh, I need to build something. Let me build furniture. Let me do like some handcrafting things and so on. So perhaps people will feel more and more the need of creating stuff that, you know, people from back in the day would do, and perhaps not today in the modern life we do it anymore, but you would have more workshops of people doing ceramics because we need somehow to get our hands dirty and create things. I think that will be even more valuable in the future.
For sure. And also, if you think about like modern art, it's sometimes really ugly, isn't it? It can be like, let's be frank, it can be something really weird, like just, you know, a dot. But the point is not, it's your perception of it, but also there's usually a story. And I feel like the story is what people are fascinated by. Like someone like wrapping themselves in foil and living in a hut for 6 months and then producing this thing for a year, or like something that is very close to, you know, the pain of the human existence, or like the human experience of like trying to get to the core of life, you know, and it's sometimes ugly and a little bit, it's not perfect. And there are things that art needs to discuss that we want to kind of express as a community so that we can evolve. And AI, I don't think it can do that because it doesn't have a physical form. Or maybe it will someday, I don't know, but it can't at least sense things as we do. And it can't die in the same way we die. That means that the time we give to the things that we're with means more. And that gives value in itself to the things that we create.
So do we want to open the Pandora's box for AI a bit more? Is that like, I'm thinking vibe coding, and that's total opposite what you now explained. Somebody's being on a hop for a year, totally excluded from.
Yeah, I mean, but there's, I mean, it's a more about, there's also the story of you don't have to be the suffering artist, or like you don't have to have that part, but you still can have the perspective and you can use a different tool to express it. I think the expression part and the kind of end goal is the point. Whether you do vibe coding or whether you do games or memes or sing or paint, the format is just the format. The feeling and the message is the point. And vibe coding is just a way of making some things maybe easier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or something that, you know, someone else is going to have to fix it afterwards.
Exactly. I almost said that, but yeah.
But I think you could also, I think as humans, we have like this great capabilities of using, like learning things and using, leveraging, you know, it's like we can use technology to help us express ourselves better, or like reduce barriers, you know. And I think the way I see AI is actually like, you know, you're stuck with something, you know, use AI. Maybe you're trying to write a song and you're like, what rhymes with butter, you know? And I need to then you ask AI and can give you like a list of things and so on. And you're still putting your heart there and like, you know, and saying like what you want to say and refine and so on. But, or if you're like stuck with melody, you know, you can go to Suno AI and put like, I'm thinking of this sort of thing. And then it gives you like some chords that go along with that. I was like actually doing that sometimes, kind of like stuck in a composition. I was like, it had only 4 chords. And I was like, let's make this more interesting, more jazzy and so on. So, you know, so you can definitely still have your elements of creativity. But if you're stuck, and that happens so much in arts, right? You can use AI. Perhaps you're a bit shy to talk to your friends that you're stuck, or you have nobody that would understand what you're going through in that sort of blockage that you have when it comes to your art. So maybe you can just like, you know, have a AI buddy talking to you back and forth and seeing how it goes. So I feel more like a friend, a companion, rather than someone that you should fight against, or like someone that you actually, you know, you bring closer to you and you contain and you work together. So also you don't go, you don't stay behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also it's like the AIs don't really do anything without the human input, right? They're just there.
Yet.
Kind of, well, they might actually do something, but like it's actually probably better to give them some funny things to do that are human related. Keep them occupied. That's true.
Yeah. Let's keep them occupied with like image generation so they don't do anything.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, but I mean, as if you think humans as animals and our culture, like we're not the fastest species. We're not the strongest species. We don't have the sharpest teeth. We don't even, like, we're actually quite fragile when it comes to like environment. You know, we can't even survive if it's like -2, or like if it's like 10, we might die. So, or like without water, without like, there's very specific conditions that we survive in, and we're not the best animal in a way by any means, except for we have been the best at using tools. We have been the best at adapting to our environment, and the tools we invent and use are the, you know, the fact where we're here. When we invented fire, you know, or someone just, I don't know if it was an accident or not, but, you know, from there to this day, those tools have made us who we are.
More resilient.
Exactly. More resilient. And we have used them to thrive. And I would love, because what we also do as humans, we project our fears onto these technologies. Always. It always happens. We project our, like, maybe it's an evil guy AI. It is that evil guy from that movie. Oh no, it is going to kill us all. I mean, sure. Exactly. Or like, we have so many stories that we tell ourselves that we are afraid of, and it's completely natural. But I think we should also project our hopes on these technologies. Like, have also that discussion. Meanwhile, like, we can, and I think it's very healthy to have those discussions and think about the fears that we have, because they're all legit. We should be regulating. We should be thinking about ethics. We should be thinking about copyright. All of these things matter. And we have to have those critical discussions. And we have to have those discussions. How can this help us? How can this make us thrive? How can we be better? How can we improve? There's always more ways to improve humanity. And we need them. We need solutions. So use AI for that.
I love that positive notion. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom and AI is here to kill us, but we can actually have some positive benefits out of it. How about that then? Is there a positive future that we have to look forward to, or any future predictions that besides meme museums you see?
Well, of course. I mean, there's always a positive future if people believe in it. And I believe that is like our biggest challenge right now, because as long as people can see it and believe it and feel it, we will find ways there. But if people lose that belief and hope and trust and also community and collaboration and connection to other people, then that is our greatest threat. Because then we can't find the best solutions. We don't listen to all of the perspectives. And we don't come together and find, solution to these challenges that do exist with or without the help of AI. But I am very positive. I believe in humans. I definitely believe in the younger generation, and also the adults and older ones. There are really good people in this world. There are actually more good people than bad people. The bad people can just be really loud. But I think that we should have more faith and trust and hope. And yes, also acknowledge that it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's never been easy. But we still have to, keep grinding, because what's the alternative? Not doing it and then just like, well, meh. Things went to shit. Damn. Sorry.
How about Iara, for a culture perspective?
Yeah, I would say that people shouldn't be afraid of getting into technology and trying to understand better, because that's where innovation comes from. When you have people from different walks of life trying to learn some new technology. So let's say, like the Web3 concepts or the AI and so on. So we will see true change when we see like the regular people on the day-to-day that like figuring it out how it works, because then they will be like, oh, okay, I can use it for that. This is how it works. Okay, then I will do it for this, for that, and so on. So we need diverse voices and diverse walks of lives. And I'm talking about all sorts of diversities here, and so people shouldn't be afraid. And if you feel like, oh, this might be complicated for me and so on, maybe follow Hanna's advice. There's an AI for that, and put your problem there and see like how can AI help you out with this struggle. But don't be afraid, and no matter like how old you are, you should see how this can be like. Don't think like, oh, I'm too old for learning new things. It's not. Like, it's actually way more easier than you think, because right now, for instance, you can actually just have a conversation with AI. You don't even need to like, oh yeah, where do I go and enter and so on. You can actually just talk and they will answer back and so on and back and forth. It can be like this advisor that you have. And also, I'm sure you know someone from your community that knows a little bit better than you, that could hold your hands and help you out, breaking this fear of new technology. But yeah, so what I want is to see more and more people there are not. Unfortunately, it's still like very much male dominated. So we need to have more people of all walks of lives and entering this and changing the narrative, reducing bias and so on. So
totally.
Well
I would
said.
love for more people to like perhaps stop saying what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what if this or that, because yes, there is a lot of fear, and I think it's okay. It is okay to have fear, period. And start saying, even if you have fear, you can do it. Even if you don't know everything, even if you don't know how you'll survive, even if you don't know how this works or that works, or even if you don't understand how a technology is or whatever. Even if despite all of that, you're here and you can do it and there are people who want to help you and there are always ways and you're strong enough. That's what I would say to anyone. Like you can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
a perfect way to end this episode. Thank you, Hanna. Thank you, Iara.
Thank you.
For me, it feels like culture isn't dead.
No.
It's just getting new layers, avenues, and yes, I
Expanding.
still listen to vinyl. I love my vinyls, but I still listen to other music and utilize other cultures as well. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a wrap, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you got tons of value. Still stay curious, I would say. Don't fear technology, but it can be a really nice tool. So, yeah, be curious, test things out, and learn from the best like these guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.